I feel like a 90s boy band, but you know the kind that plays their own instruments.
Oh, they did? No, they don't. Is there any boy bands that played their own instruments?
Is Hanson a boy band?
Hanson's definitely a boy band.
They played their own instruments.
That's true.
They're still around, you know that?
They are still around.
They're doing good.
Yeah.
I went to their concert, actually, about a year and a half ago.
Okay, well, let's cut. I'm teasing.
Their guitar tech used to mix here.
He did. That's why I went to that concert. He needed to borrow some, like an in-ear cable or something, so got free tickets. It's good
So
stuff.
last podcast started off with Garth Brooks.
This one starts with Hanson. Both Oklahoma artists.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a theme. We'll just feature an Oklahoma artist at the beginning of every
Toby
podcast.
Keith will be next week.
And give you a shout out. Which you guys did some sort of like golf tournament thing that Toby Keith was at.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it all fits in. It's all coming
Shangri-La.
together.
It's coming together.
It's
all
coming
there.
together.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we're in your home court today. You
Yeah.
mix here on a regular basis, right?
Yep.
I'm bummed out about that because now you're not with me anymore and you don't make me coffee. Nobody makes me coffee in the mornings anymore.
You might have to make your own coffee.
Make my own coffee.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not the same.
Stuart's got a hand when
He
it comes
does.
to the coffee.
It's good stuff.
So
Right there.
what Josh is
Cheers.
referring to is our subscription program. And we've got a few churches that just say, listen, we need you to supply a tech every single Sunday. So
Yeah.
this is one of those churches.
Yeah, we're at Mosaic Church in Oklahoma City, and they have a really cool setup here. Now a new stage design configuration. And so we're here every Sunday. We'll have a lighting guy here. We'll have Stuart here taking care of sound at front of house. These guys are dialed in.
Yeah.
Really setting them up for success. So tell me about the backdrop here because it's really cool. It's got kind of a Kanye West vibe going on. I'm digging it.
I don't know how that ties in for sure, but I'm not up on my Kanye.
It's older Kanye, but
God.
yeah.
Yeah, this is the lid feature, you know?
The lid feature.
the lid, you know? Somebody called it a lid. But yeah, it's stage lid.
I like it.
I think it turned out pretty nice. I like the depth and the light, the color and everything, so it's pretty cool.
It's a cool effect that you could really do on any size room.
Mm-hmm.
Just fit it to the stage.
Yeah.
And then it kind of encloses your stage, kind of gives it a different feel than what most people would normally go for.
Yeah, I like it.
Very cool. What's it made out of? 'Cause
This
there's a
is-
lot going on.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. So this basically is Celtic Cloth. And I've never heard of Celtic Cloth.
I've never heard of that either.
And it's just a nice cloth.
Comes with bagpipes.
It has
It's not plaid.
And maybe it didn't come with
Well,
bagpipes. They're coming later.
It's an upcharge to get it in non-tartan finish.
Gotcha. Right.
So yeah, I mean, this is something that our good friend Mark Ryan, he and I stood on the stage and he cast his vision and told me what he wanted. And so I just kind of listened to him cast that vision about huge lid over the stage with the Celtic cloth and put it all together, and this is what it is. So this is 2 days. This is like a quick,
It only took 2 days to do this.
yeah,
It's awesome.
2 days. So we came in, put some gas pipe. So it's made with the Celtic cloth.
Right.
We left the bagpipes out for this.
the bag
version?
it came in can double as a, what you call it, a kilt.
Oh, kilts?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep.
man skirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I chose not to wear mine today for obvious reasons.
What you can't see in the frame is that Stuart actually is wearing a kilt.
Right.
Mm. Except if Sarah goes to the wide shot.
Then everyone's gonna know. I'll just well, it's a still shot, so I will just superimpose
Photoshop,
one
yeah.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it'll look like you're wearing a kilt.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect.
We might have to do some edits on this podcast.
Could just blur this whole area out on the wide shot.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is something that was kind of a quick, like pre-Easter run that was requested of us. You know, the name of the company says Sound and Church, but we actually do quite a bit more than just sound systems. And so behind us is kind of that recreation of somebody's vision that we just bring to life. And that's what I like the most, is hearing people cast a vision, have a dream, and then see how can we impact that dream like with tangible reality. And so that's what we like to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sound is really the base level of what you guys do.
Sure.
There's so much more above and beyond that. Like, sound is just kind of like, it at this point is probably almost autopilot for you guys in a lot of ways. Like, you just do it so much, you've done it so many times that it's just kind of second nature.
Yeah.
But then it really gets fun when you get into like creating scenes and, lighting setups and stage designs and all of those things that you got to use a different part of your brain for.
Yeah, like always about finding something that's a little different. The cool thing that I like about this is we've never done this before. And I don't mind saying that because I like doing things I've never done. And so when I can find an opportunity to take on a task that I'm going to have to figure out, that's exciting. So that's kind of what we did here. We designed this fabric like it was a custom order fabric. And so we could get pockets on the side, ties on the top, and it worked within our gas pipe installation configuration. Pretty nice.
That's great.
So, yeah, it's cool to just say yes to something and then figure out all the details afterward.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes that's just how it goes. And it's cool because it was an outside source. So you've got the worship leader of the church saying, I've got this big vision. How do we make it happen?
Yeah.
And that's just cool because, of course, we do all the time. We go and do site visits. We're in churches, and they're like, hey, we need something.
Right.
What do you guys think we should do? And then we come up with cool stuff, like 35-foot wide curved projection screens, textured, made out of squares turned to diamonds and stuff. But sometimes it's really cool when the person in charge at the church is like, I've got this big vision.
Yeah.
Now, how do you make it happen? And we've never used it before.
Yeah.
Sure, let's do it. Why not?
Well, there's always a ton of ways to accomplish whatever it is that you're trying to do. Like, you could have done this any number of ways.
Sure.
Right? But you chose to go with what you went with. And was that a cost thing that you went with what you were doing so that it would fit in the budget? Was it a logistical design choice based on structure and safety and rigging?
Sure.
Like, what all went into your thought process there?
That's a great question. I mean, this is something, like I said, never really configured a stage lid design like this before, but obviously safety is a big thing. And so, I want anything that we put in the air has to be rigid. And so therefore, like, we're doing about a 30-foot span with this fabric. So it can't be PVC, it can't really be wood, it needs to be gas pipe. And so the pipe creates that rigidity, and then it's braced every 4 foot. And so that's part of like how it is able to maintain its structure integrity and also give the look that we need. And so, it's always, there's a safety factor to consider, and there's also the design factor. And of course, the budget factor is always the thing, because nobody has an unlimited budget. At least I haven't come across anybody that does.
Shouldn't have.
Correct.
You should always allocate a certain amount to be like, this is what I need to use this for.
Yeah.
In my mind, that's how I think it should work. But
well, and you could get pretty out of control with something like this if you don't have a clear defined budget.
Right.
And so before we start a project, like there's usually a line drawing, there's pictures, there's a lot of details, and an itemized quote, for the bill of materials for us to run off, because we don't want to get into this project with it quoted at $4,000, and then the next thing you know, we've got an extra $2,000 that we need to purchase materials.
Right.
That's sending this project over the budget like crazy. So it's very important, I think, to identify your desire and dream and be creative, but also I think what we bring to the table is that design constraint, that little box. You've got to put things in a box. You got to jump out of the box to look at it from a high elevation, I think.
Right.
And then you have to come back and you have to put it all back in the box so it can be neat and organized and within budget. Otherwise, it's just going to be crazy.
Chaos.
Absolutely.
It could get really bad really fast. So that's That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say this about this whole structure. Yeah, we've never done it before, like Jonathan said. However, we rig every day. And there's industry standards. The 1.5-inch gas pipe that we use all the time. It's what we use to hang projectors. It's what we use to clamp lights to. It's a pretty standard thing that we do.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we make big giant grids for the
martial arts.
What's that called? Infinity wall.
Yeah.
You know, things like that. So like this we've technically never done, but as far as putting something in the air, we do that all the time.
Right.
So we just take all of our knowledge that we have. It's no different really than hanging a speaker. Really, it's just shaped different, a lot different.
Yeah. No, that's the truth, is that, you know, I think that's why there's the confidence to say, oh, you want this? We can do that, because there's a lot of things that are a particular vision that people maybe don't realize that what they're saying, there's a lot of similarities or symbiotic inherent things that translate in what they're asking that we do in other areas. Like
Right.
Stuart's saying about the rigging. I mean, it's just putting something in the air in a safe manner.
Mm-hmm.
And so doing that on a larger scale, it's just a little bit more planning.
Sure.
But again, it's just what we do. Like, we put stuff in the air, we optimize it, and we splash it with light, hit it with sound, and make it cool.
I like it. It looks
Yeah.
great. Feels great. You get, you know, because stages have a feel.
Yeah.
You know, they can feel cramped. They can feel awkward.
Mhm.
This feels good.
Yeah, and you can make a room, like, this is a big part of this room. This is a focal point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and all of the stages in a church have a focal point. All of the rooms, all of the stages in a church, there's a focal point. And so what we want to do is we want to enhance that focal point, but in a way that's not super distracting,
Right.
but just creates, like you're saying, like a feeling of inviting.
Yeah, that's what
you know,
that's definitely what it
warm.
feels like. Warm. That's a good word for it.
Yeah.
It makes because it's kind of a big room, makes the room feel a little more intimate.
Cool.
I like it. So, keeping with the theme of talking about this screen and the fact that we're recording video, one of the things that has become more of a, I don't really want to say issue, but more of something that tech teams have to focus on over the last couple of years is what their stage lighting looks like and what their people look like on camera.
Mm-hmm.
Not every church was doing live stream or broadcast or anything. They might have been recording their sermons and like releasing them on a YouTube channel or like just the audio or something like that, but nobody was doing anything at the production level that most churches are doing them at now. And I've heard a few people just in passing and on forums and stuff like that talk about how, like, oh, well, I bought these really expensive cameras and we have these really expensive lights, but our image looks terrible. Why does it look terrible? And I feel like there's a lot of reasons why it could look terrible. The first reason is maybe your settings aren't set properly on your camera. Because even the most expensive cameras, you still have to expose them correctly to get a good image out of it. And then thinking about the lighting that we're looking at, this is pretty harsh lighting, right?
Yeah.
So I've got the cameras set at a pretty decently underexposed setting so that our faces aren't just big, shiny, bright white balls up here, right? But one of the things you could do is maybe some softer lighting might be an option, but also backlighting is huge.
Yeah.
Something that people don't think about. Backlighting looks cool. It's a cool effect, but it's also key whenever you're talking about recording something on a video and having a camera set up and live streaming. You don't want your subject to look two-dimensional. You don't want them to
Right.
blend in to their surroundings. You want them to stand out. You want the surroundings to be separated.
Yeah.
And you want them to have a clear outline and separation between your subject and the background.
Yeah.
So I feel like this accomplishes that without having a ton of lights back there to like backlight you. Personally, I love the big spotlight behind people
Yeah.
with the nice halo around. I love that look, but not everybody's going for that, and that's okay. That's all personal preference. But what you really want to focus on is being able to separate your subject from the background, however it is you do that. And you can get creative. There are any number of ways, just like this screen or this lid situation. There are any number of ways that you could accomplish that.
Right.
Same thing for video. There are any number of ways that you can accomplish a look that you're going for. Just be creative with it. Know your end goal and your purpose and why you're trying to do it, and then figure out how you're going to do it along the way.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that I was hearing in there that have to do with the overall optimization.
Right.
You know, like we've talked before, is you can have great lighting, you can have great cameras, you can have all this great stuff. But if you're not deploying it in a proper manner, like you said, with your ISO, your focal lengths, I mean, all of the physical position of the camera matters.
It does, yeah.
Just like the physical position of a microphone matters and a projector matters. Everything matters. And there's just a bit of haphazardry that we encounter that it doesn't really have anything to do with the equipment. It's how the equipment is being deployed. And so, again, we want to encourage people to find the best use for the equipment that you have. And if there's questions about it, like, ask us what you are thinking, because perhaps there's a particular piece of gear that you're considering that maybe would work great, or an alternate piece would be a better solution. But most importantly, it's the proper deployment and the settings. You know, the optimization, the tweaking of the cameras, the light. But you hit on some good stuff there with the basics of creating a depth of field and focus. So let's kick it over to Stuart, because he's real into photos and video. And
I want to shed a different perspective on this for a second.
Yeah,
I want to
please.
take away the cameras for a second.
Go for it.
Cameras are gone. I don't care what cameras are out there. Doesn't matter
Yeah.
to me. I've been a photographer for a long time. The first thing I do, like if I'm going to do some portraits or I'm going to take some senior photos or whatever, I don't get my camera out and start looking through it and setting adjustments or whatever. I just look at the subject.
Right.
So
That's
if I
huge.
was going to take a picture of, well, I like, from my angle, I like how you're lit right here, because there's that cyan colored light back there that's lighting this. It might be doing it on me too.
It is, yeah.
And it just has that outline.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then you've got some key light coming in this way. So what I'm doing, if I'm going to make a shot, I don't even think about my camera.
right.
It's not even in my mind. I'm physically getting everything where I want, just naturally, just in the world.
Yeah.
And then once it's all there, and I go, aha, now my source is correct. Everything looks correct. Then I'll get my camera out.
Yeah.
And it does not matter what your camera is. To be honest,
Right.
it really doesn't matter. You can probably get a really good-looking live stream at your church with whatever camera you have, unless you don't have one. But even a phone,
Even an
a phone
iPhone.
a phone
Yeah.
would be fine. I mean,
Yeah.
you're kind of stuck with your focal length-ish, but kind of, depending on
the
what it
iPhone.
is. But get your source correct. Once your source is correct, then get your cameras out.
Yeah.
That's my 2 cents on
good.
that whole thing.
Well, it's like we started this knowing what we wanted it to look like whenever we were up here. We had an idea, even though we didn't necessarily talk about it. We've been doing this kind of thing for long enough that whenever we said, hey, we're going to film a podcast on stage at Mosaic Church, we all kind of had an idea of what that was going to look like, right? So we knew what our source was. And then going into it, like you said, any camera would work. For example, those all are not the same cameras
No,
by any stretch of the imagination.
no, and they vary in price a lot.
By quite a bit.
So,
Yeah.
like, for example, this wide shot, if we go to the wide shot, which we're probably on, yep, Sarah's saying we're on that.
Yep.
This wide shot, you know how much I spent on that camera?
How much did you spend on this
I
camera?
mean, now
Please tell
I'm an
us.
eBay enthusiast. I like to find deals. I like to throw out ridiculous offers. That wide shot is a Sony A6000 with the kit lens. The kit lens that comes with it, $250.
Get
Wow.
out of here.
That's a $250 camera right there.
Okay.
You don't need
It gets the job done.
Yeah, you don't need insanely expensive. In fact, I would shoot a whole wedding, or I would shoot headshots or whatever with that camera. If somebody gave me a challenge and said, that's the only camera you can use, and you have to use that little 16 to 50, whatever it is, f2 4.5 varying, whatever
Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
You know, it's just the cheap kit lens.
Right.
I guarantee you I could get some really, really good looking headshots or portraits just with just
Yeah.
with that camera.
Well, and it's like a digital zoom lens, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So I've made many videos with one of those,
yeah,
and they look great.
yeah.
I was filming with an A7S, like the original A7S, and then filming with one of those, and I could match them and pair them up perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking about a couple $100 for one of those, and then the A7S, brand new was probably $2,000, 2,500, something like that. So 10% of your cost on that camera, and it's still getting you an excellent image.
Now I will say, good lenses do.
Well, yeah,
they have
make a
some
difference.
mojo. They got some mojo, but you don't have. That's the thing. You don't have to have a $5,000 red body that you don't even have a lens for because you spent all your money just on the body
Yeah.
in your church.
Right.
You don't have to. You can get a little Sony A6000 if you want.
I have an
and
idea.
Make it look really good.
I have a call to action.
I like
okay.
this.
All right.
This just came to me while we were talking about optimizing what you have in this $250 camera. So here's what I want to do. I want to create an opportunity for some free merch giveaway.
Okay.
All right.
Oh.
So we just got a whole bunch of free merch. Or it wasn't free, but we're going to make it free.
It's going to be free for you.
It's going to be free for you guys. So what I want to do is I want you guys to post, and I say the team, the church, I want them to, we're going to do a contest. We're going to do a before and an after.
All right.
All right. So upload a clip of your current live stream. Okay. And then spend some time after listening to this podcast. You can call us if you want, or you can do it on your own. But
Or send us a message, however you want to get a hold of
do
us.
something for your live stream video settings. Like, do something different. Optimize that on your own. Take the initiative and change your lighting, change your settings, change your audio feed. Do something different.
Physically move your camera.
Physically move your camera. Just think outside the box. Send us your before and after, and whoever's got the most impressive change, we're going to hook you up with some swag.
All right. Do we need Stuart to
is-
model some of the swag?
Well, all I have on me is this is
That's
one
an
of-
old shirt.
This is one of the hats.
That's a-
Yeah, we got
right
some
there. I don't know if we're
shirts,
going to this
some
shot
hats,
or not. And
some
it's
hoodies.
probably in focus if I put it right in front of my face.
polo.
That's one of the hats right there.
So
I
yeah,
have it on
if
backwards
you
for
win,
lighting purposes.
we'll see what you like. We'll get some sizes and
Yeah.
But I thought that'd be something fun.
I think it's great. I think it's a
Yeah.
great idea. I think that encouraging people to think outside the box, that encouraging people to try something different
Yeah.
is huge, because most people are afraid to do things any way than what they're used to doing them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you present somebody with like, hey, why don't you try it this way? The number one thing that happens in most people's minds is going to be like, well, I've never done it that way before. And that's crippling for a lot of
Sure.
people. You know, hey, you're not going to have the normal gear that you're used to working with. Try this. Some people will freeze up,
Yeah.
but the fundamentals are all the same. The basics are all the same. It shouldn't
right.
change. If you know your fundamentals, then it should be easy from there.
That's right.
It's kind of like when you're missing a couple ingredients in the kitchen. So you have to improvise a little bit. And then you realize, oh, I might not need all those spices. I might just need salt and pepper.
Right.
And what you create is potentially far better
Yeah.
than what you thought you were going to create because you had to have.
Well,
you
that
know.
lets the source, that lets the raw material come out, right?
Mhm.
Salt and pepper on a great fillet is literally all you need.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now, it should probably be like a pink Himalayan sea salt because that's the jam, and some fresh cracked pepper.
Yeah.
But if you do that in a fillet, like, you don't need to add a whole bunch of other stuff.
Mm-mm.
Like, it's just good as it is. Just like you have all of this stuff in your church. Like, there's some greatness within. You just need to pull it out. And we're encouraging you to find that extraction handle and just pull it out. Pull that greatness out of your church.
Mm-hmm.
And if you need help, if you're in this place where it's like sword in the stone and you can't extract all the way, then like call and we'll help. We'll add some muscle to it.
Yeah, we'll break it loose.
That's right.
Call-
Get after it.
Call anyway. I love talking about lighting.
Yeah.
Lighting as in lighting up subjects.
Right. Yeah.
Not as in
Stuart
being a
will
lighting
talk
guy.
about
Right.
lighting for photo and video all day.
Yeah.
Now you want him to talk about stage lighting, and he's probably going to walk
And
away.
I'm going to, yeah.
Just an Irish goodbye. I'm out.
Yeah. See ya.
Yeah. So really, all you need for a good steak is some sea salt or some kosher salt,
That's
and
right, man.
just a little time in the fridge with that salt. Let it spend some time getting to know each other in
That's
there.
right. And let your steak rest.
Yes.
Don't
I think
be
this needs to
impatient.
be part of the
No.
the title.
Let your
Something-
steak rest.
Let your steak rest or something.
Yeah.
I like it. No, I made one of the best ribeyes I've ever had by just taking some kosher salt
Mm-hmm.
and sprinkling it on both sides of the steak, and then sitting it on a plate uncovered inside the refrigerator for about a day and a half.
Now, did you massage into the steak your kosher salt and your pepper?
No. So what happens is whenever you put the salt on there, and it's just salt. That's all you want to do is just salt whenever
Okay.
you're starting off with this. It's just you're like speeding up the dry aging process.
All right.
And what you're doing is you're pulling the moisture out of the steak. And doing that gives it kind of an aged flavor. And whenever you pull that moisture out, and it cooks so much better and so much more evenly. And then all you got to do is, like, I'll take a cast iron skillet, put it on the
Super
grill,
hot.
get that thing hot on the fire grill, and then you put some butter and maybe some thyme or something in there, and just sear it on both sides, and then finish it in the oven to bring it up to temp. That's where it's at, man.
Do you ever soak it in sparkling water for a few hours and then do that?
No, I have not.
I've heard that's good too.
Really?
Mhm.
I bet the minerals kind of do the same
It
thing.
kind of starts to pull it apart a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it tenderizes it.
Mhm.
Because whenever you pull that
I've never
moisture
done
out,
it.
it like
I just watched the video
dehydrates it, and
recently.
it just really opens up the flavors. It's really awesome.
So let's do that Monday. Let's cook
Okay.
some steak at the shop.
All right.
All right.
I can do that.
Got some charcoal in the back of the truck right now.
I think we should do the
Chicos.
podcast around the grill next time. That sounds like a good special edition for the
There'll
podcast.
be lots of sizzling sounds on the steak.
We'll mic the grill so that you can enjoy that aspect of it as well. It'll be like you're here. So kind of bringing this back to what we were talking about with the stage design. Stuart, you worked with Mark, who is the worship pastor here. This was really his concept, his idea. He came to you and said, hey, I want to do this. I just don't know how to pull it off. Can you help me?
Yeah.
And then you took
Absolutely.
it from there.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, like I said, he had this big vision, and that's the thing. I've been working with Mark for many years,
Right.
and he has these big visions, and then he just kind of relies on me to fill in the gaps, fill in the details. In this scenario, this was a big vision,
Right.
and so he got Sound and Church involved. Him and Jonathan kind of put together a little plan, and then we executed it. But what I really want to say about all that is I feel like, I've been in staff, meetings and all that stuff. I feel like churches immediately think, we're an install company. There's lots of install companies that work in churches.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's conversations that happen in these churches that are, oh, we can't afford that. There's no way. You look at this end result and you think, well, that's $50,000 or $75,000 or whatever. But they don't really know. They just see what they see.
Right.
And so I think what happens is they immediately dismiss, well, we can't have an install company come in and do this. We're just going to have to do something ourselves. We've got a little tech team. We've got, a creative director. We've got a worship leader. Let's just, figure something out. There's no way. We got this little, let's say the budget is $8,000, $5,000, whatever. We want to do a stage redesign. Well, I think in their meetings they go, okay, we only have $5,000. There's no need to call any AV company because they're going to be way too expensive. But contrary to that, just call us.
Yeah.
Let us come in. We can work with whatever size budget you have. If you only have $5,000, then let us come up with a $5,000 option. I have
Yeah.
no idea how much this was.
At least hear the
But-
quote before you say no.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you never know what the install company being us, like what Sound and Church might know how to do that you haven't really thought about,
Exactly.
So,
And because we like to think outside the box. Okay,
Right.
yeah, so let's throw up, a couple of these Celtic cloths. And I have no idea what the budget was here. I stay out of the numbers. That's all Jonathan. I have zero idea how much it costs. But I guarantee you that it does not cost $50,000.
No.
Not anywhere close.
No.
So, I mean, that's the thing is it's not nearly as expensive as you think it is, especially when you give us the creative freedom to do it. So,
Right.
Well, and the creative freedom comes, like what we're looking for is we're looking for opportunities really to bless you. I mean, that's really what it is. Because if you think about these light fixtures that are on this wall back here, like there's $30,000 worth of moving lights, beam spot wash, CMY movers, that's not the ticket item that a church really should be buying. But we have the ability to make that available through a lease option because it's stuff that we've acquired over the years. And so
Right.
there's just a lot of value that I believe that we bring to the church that's far more incommensurate than any other company could provide. And it's just something where we just want we want the authority to just do what we feel like we're called to do. And that is thinking outside the box, keeping it within budget, and just creating crazy, absurd, awesome looking results that change the environment in the church. They change the environment, they change the experience, and hopefully they bring souls to Christ. Because people come in and they feel like this is a place that they can connect to somebody. They can connect to people in this church. They can feel like they can be honest. There's just a lot of spiritual things I think that can happen when the environment is set. And so Sound in Church is not just a sound install company, but Sound in Church is an environmental experience company. And
I
so
like
that's
that.
what I want to be thought of as a environmental experience. Like, how do we take the experience of our church to the next level? It's not by buying new lights or a hazer or anything like that. It's by hiring Sound in Church to set it up the way that it needs to be.
Yeah.
So that's our goal.
I like it.
That's what we want to do.
You're kind of like online shopping, where you're looking for something, you're not really sure what it is that you're looking for.
But it's those
But you
other suggestions
Yeah.
that you scroll through and you realize that's what I'm missing.
Right.
I'm missing somebody that not only has a heart for the church, but's really good at production, that's really good at thinking outside the box, that can actually make our budget come in on budget.
You're like that filter on an online shopping site where you're like, okay, you go up to the filter and you say, I don't want to spend more than this much on this project.
Yeah.
I don't want anything to do with this brand.
Yeah.
it needs to be under 100,000 miles.
And it needs to fit these parameters. And then, Jonathan's computer goes and he's like, all right, here's 12 options that'll fit everything that you're asking for.
That's what I love.
What would you like?
That's the funnest approach. Like, if you have that approach with me on a site visit, we're going to have a lot of fun, because that's literally just putting the parameters out there and just letting the wheels turn.
Yes.
You know, and that's exciting and rewarding. And I think that's where the coolest things come from, is you bestow a bit of your authority onto us as a company that values the environmental experience of your church, and we will take it somewhere that it's never been.
I dig it.
Yeah.
Well,
I couldn't have said it better myself.
yeah, I think you're knocking on the right doors.
Let's go.
All right. So let the filter know what you're looking for. He'll get it done.
Send us a request.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for listening to this episode. This is episode number 3. And I think we're probably going to be doing a lot more of these because it's just way too much fun to quit.
Mm-hmm.
It's a blast.
It's a lot of fun. And are we? Yeah. Cheers, guys. Also, remember, try the challenge that Jonathan gave you guys. Go to your cameras or whatever gear you're using and just try something a little bit differently to make your production go to the next level. And show us the before and after.
And if
maybe
you get stuck, call us.
And if you get stuck, call us. But maybe you will receive some Sound in Church swag
Is there a way that we need to have them post this? Like, should they post it, tag us?
If you will
and, like-
tag us in the posts,
Okay.
in the before and after posts, we will see it and we will be notified, and then we'll go through those and
I'm excited.
see what we like.
Mm.
And I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah.
I am. Maybe we can get a few of these going before Easter, because I know a lot of you guys are probably doing redesigns for your stage
That's a great
sets
idea.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, if we could get
show us your Easter stage sets.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I like
awesome.
it. Okay, well, we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.